kicks fly, you fit nice, fun size, you my type, so fly. Anytime your goals become the new standard, the only direction is yeah. We up now, baby.
How you doing, good people? Happy Saturday. It's Black History Month. We kicking the month off right here at We Up Now Gaming. So, as you guys know, I talk about it often. Shout out to everybody that's joining us on Facebook, by the way. We live on Facebook now. So tell your aunties, your TTs, your yayas, your grandmas, let them know their favorites on Facebook now so they can pull us up right here on my page or the We Up Now Gaming page. But you guys know that follow us on Twitch. You guys know we talk about, or I talk about my hometown a lot. So it's crazy how things work where I have an opportunity to kick off Black History Month here at We Up Now Gaming, interviewing my best friend, my brother, Vic Hall. And this interview is important tonight, not because of who he is to me, but who he is to so many people. How he motivated a city and continues to motivate a small town known by Gretna, Virginia. So happy Black History Month. Welcome to We Up Now Gaming, the organization, the gaming community that's working to increase the percentage of black professionals in the gaming industry. Welcome to our community. And we're gonna kick off Black History Month tonight in a very special way. So he really don't need an introduction, but I'm gonna do my best. So to the platform for the first time, my brother, my best friend, Mr. 14,000 yards in high school, Mr. Broke Virginia's record held by Ronald Curry, an all-time GOAT in the 757. Shout out AU. Mr. Virginia, go to UVA, play multiple positions, score touchdowns at all of them. And now he's a Ball State coach. And I'm happy to have him here, Mr. Vic Hall. How you doing, brother?
Good, bro, man. I appreciate you having me. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming, and I'm happy to be here. So look, man, I say those things, and I know in conversations with you, you're hearing some of those things for the first time in a long time. And I know that because you've always been able to stay so humble throughout all of these years, throughout all of the success. So I really want to highlight that tonight. Make no mistakes, we are celebrating you here for Black History Month, for all the amazing things that you've done. But I really want to get into Vic Hall the person, Vic Hall the story. Is it all right if we do that tonight?
It's good, man. Let's go.
Okay. Shout out to everybody pulling up from Gretna, man. We really gonna have a good time tonight. Shout out to Arquan Bush pulling up. Like Vic, he right in the mix right now. He just got invited to the NFL Combine. He just came home from the Shrine Bowl. Like he's right in the mix right now. He's right there. Has every opportunity to turn his goals into new standards to get into the NFL. Shout out to Arquan Bush pulling up to the chat tonight.
Yeah, shout out, man. Congratulations.
All right, Vic. So let's get into it, man. So let's go back to a young Vic Hall. At what age did you start playing sports, any organized sports whatsoever?
I think at the age of 6, I think it was 6 or 7. I think 7 was when you could play basketball. I mean, I'm sorry, 6 was when you could play basketball. It was 7 for football. So right around 6 or 7 is when I started playing organized sports. And crazy enough, I never forget my first football practice. And obviously no pads on, none of that. I come home and I was telling my mom I don't want to play football. I want to quit. And she was like, "Nah, you ain't quitting. You going back." So just imagine if she would allow me to quit at that particular point and getting started. So that was an interesting situation at that point. But yeah, 6, 7 years old when I started.
Shout out to Mama Ro. You know, obviously our parents were friends growing up, and you know a lot of those same principles. You know, you go out there, you start it, you got to finish it. So shout out to Mama Ro. So you little league football, then you went on to become a well known quarterback. But was that position that the position you played at the little league level?
Nah, it was always running back. So I always played running back. Obviously, you was the quarterback, and I think you got hurt like your last year. I had another year. You think you got hurt or something, and I played some quarterback. Um, but no, it was always running back. And as you know well enough, man, first JV practice, Coach Prunty, Robert Prunty, shout out to him. He just walked up and said, "You gonna be quarterback." And I knew at the time, obviously, because we obviously best friends, brothers. You didn't want to play quarterback, and you happily went to play receiver, and I think it worked out for everybody involved.
Shout out to Coach Prunty. Shout out to first of all, let's not breeze past that because I got some of my young homies in the chat tonight, so we got to touch on some of these moments. So yeah, your boy Fox was playing quarterback. It was my injury that actually led Vic Hall to being the quarterback, which was crazy because he had the strongest arm, the most gifted, talented arm that any of us had. But yeah, that was like the beginning. And Coach Prunty, he had that vision to see you as the quarterback or the next great quarterback at Gretna.
Nah, he definitely had the vision. Like I said, he saw something. I don't know what it was because I don't even think he ever saw me throw. And when I first started playing quarterback JV, I threw with my thumb on the laces. And once I transitioned to varsity, he actually used to keep me after the workouts in the summer and transition to throwing it, the normal way. So yeah, it was crazy. But again, it all worked for everybody involved, I guess you can say.
So you had the football completely opposite from the laces.
Completely opposite. I had my thumb on the laces. That's how I used to throw it in JV.
Man. And what's the furthest you felt like you've ever thrown?
I'll be honest, man. I'm not sure. We mess around now, kind of. Sometimes I throw it around, but I couldn't tell you that. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I
Okay.
think probably, and I don't know how far it was, but the right before the halftime, it was 2004, right before halftime against Prince Edward. That
Listen.
you caught the bomb. I don't know. I don't know how you caught it. I don't know how far it was thrown, but it was like a prayer. It was a hope and a prayer when I threw it. You caught it, so that probably was the furthest, honestly.
Listen, I ain't trying to go too far down memory lane tonight, but man, we scored 21 points in less than 2 minutes of gameplay. So we scored right there at that half, that bomb you threw to me.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Rico Reynolds.
Yeah.
Out of the halftime, he returned the kick. And then the next defensive play, I think Mo Haskins,
Mo. Yeah.
yeah,
I think he picked off a joint and took it back.
took it back. So
Yeah.
21 points in 2 minutes. Like those were some different times. Those were some different. That was a different team. Like you broke records your junior year, correct? For all purpose yards as a junior.
I don't know for exactly what, but yeah.
Don't worry, chat. We got it. We got it all. We had to fact check some of these things, chat. Like Vic is the only person from our hometown, Gretna, Virginia, with a Wikipedia page. I'm hoping to be the second. So shout out to him for that. But I wanted to make sure that we got all of these facts straight. So check this out, chat, and all my football heads out here. I want y'all to hear this. During his junior year, he set a Virginia State record by recording 4,434 total offensive yards, which included 2,769 passing and 1,665 rushing. He led the Gretna Hawks, which at the time before Vic Hall had lost 43 straight games which was a Virginia high school record, and he had passed for 31 touchdowns that year, 25 rushing, 56 total, which at the time was the second highest in the state. His senior year, he ran it back. He broke his records. Now he had 4,852 offensive yards, which was 165 completions, 2,851 passing yards, 31 passing touchdowns, 1982 rushing, and 26 rushing touchdowns. So he set a record his junior year, ran it back his senior year, broke that record, and in the mix of all that, brought two state championships to Gretna High School. If that don't deserve a horn, I don't know what else do. So for all my gamers out there, like he just went for a light 50 piece. Like he just went crazy. And like you said, you won a state championship, so you clutched up and finished it. So shout out to you, man. So that was just high school. So talk to us about those days. I know it's a lot of people that's here that remember those days and the height of it. Like talk to us about those days. What are the things that you remember?
No, it was special, and now I started off by saying, obviously, everything that you just read off, that was a team effort, and in all honesty, and I'm not just saying it to saying it because saying it to say it, but somebody called those plays, man. It had guys blocking up front, guys running the ball, catching. So it's not just about me. I want to make sure we all celebrated in that respect. So shout out to the 2003, 2004 Gretna Hawks. Um, but no, man, those days were special. And as you know, any team sport, when you go out on the field, you just know that man to the left of you, to the right of you, got your back no matter what. You know, he gonna do whatever he got to do to make sure we come away with the win. And I think we all had that camaraderie. Uh, One of the main reasons because we all grew up together, and so being able to get to that point in our careers and and accomplish something so great, it was special. Every day about it was special. It wasn't a day that again, like I said, whether it was practice or games or just whatever it may be, man, we was just together having fun, enjoying each other, and winning at the same time. So it was a special moment in our life that obviously we'll never forget.
Man, and to be so young and so just open to the world and the possibilities to to be a part of that first one, it was a special time. And shout out to the town of Gretna because they really treated us like celebrities, like stars, and like and um coming from a community that was so close, you know, it felt good. It felt good to be celebrated in that way. It was definitely some good times.
Yeah, no,
So
they definitely showed out.
so you break those records. Did it ever really did it ever really hit you? Cause I'll be honest with you, man. I remember the William Campbell game, my senior year, your junior year, and it was so much hype behind this game. And on that Friday, 10,000 people showed up. And you look right there on the field, it's not a seat in the house. People are all on the fence. Like, I've never played in front of a crowd like that. And you went crazy. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was like 320 passing, 220 running, something like that. And I'm like, man, whew. And I remember coming to your crib the next day, just thinking to myself, like, bro, just like we just gonna have that movie moment, like yeah, we did it. Man, I get to the crib, you just chilling, listen to music, vibing. Not even like, did it ever hit you that you were putting up those type of numbers in high school?
No, I didn't. Honestly, I just never really paid attention to stats, and I not to say I tried not to. It just naturally I didn't. It was all about just going out, doing the best that I could do for the team. Whatever my job was, I was gonna try to do it to the best of my ability. If I needed to do more, I was gonna do more. If I needed to do something different, it was gonna be something different. If I had to take a step back, let Rico run the show, whatever it may be. So I never really, um, at that particular time, understood what was kind of happening. It was just more so trying to win, just competing, trying to figure out a way to win.
Yes, we were, man. Special times. So, and you talk about Rico, like you talk about like just if you think about the game he had in the state championships, man. Like you talk about reminiscing, like he was a goat. He was a goat.
Yeah, yeah. To this day, anybody asks me who the best running back I ever played with is Rico Reynolds. Like to this day, college or wherever, that's the best running back I ever played with. Somebody that could block, that could run, make you miss, catch out of the backfield,
Sheesh.
pick up the blitz with the best of them.
Sheesh.
I mean, he could do it all. So again, to this day, man, best running back I ever played with. And that's no shade to nobody else, but yeah,
Respectfully, big hand
yeah,
over the chest. Respectfully.
yeah,
So
no
was
doubt.
it any particular team that you enjoyed beating more than others?
I guess I mean, the rivalry games were the rivalry games at the end of the day. We wanted to beat every team, win every game. But at the end of the day, the rivalry games are the ones that you know that either you're gonna come away from it feeling on top of the world, you gonna come away from it, you know, feeling like you know what. So I would say the rivalry games, and for us, I mean, obviously William Campbell was a big rivalry game. And I can honestly say that probably was the biggest one.
Yeah, William
You know,
Campbell.
they had talented teams that we had to come with it every time. So
Nah,
shout out to them, man.
I
A lot
definitely
of
think it was
great
William
team had to
Campbell.
do it.
I
Yeah.
definitely I definitely think it was William Campbell. Then we had Chatham right there in our backyard, Alta Vista in our backyard. It was more so basketball,
Basketball. Yeah.
but it always felt good beating up on them and because they were so close to home.
Yeah.
So take us into that process, selecting a school to attend for college. You were one of the first from that area to go to get a full scholarship in football. So take us through that process of selecting the school and what went into your decision.
Yeah. And I know before me too that just to just shout him out, Lamar Cobb actually played football at
Shout
Virginia
out to
Tech.
shout out
Yep,
to
shout out
Lamar.
to Lamar. William Merritt, older, he played at Wake Forest. So those guys kind of again paid away. But in terms of picking a school, I'll be honest with you, bro. I never really thought about college, and that's I'm not saying that to say that I didn't want to go to college. It was just something again. We was living in our world, having fun doing what we do, enjoying each other. That I never really thought about college or where I wanted to go to college. And really, my first exposure to it was when we used to go to the team camps at Virginia Tech with Prunty. Once we got
Mm.
to like eighth grade, we was going up to the team camps. That was kind of the first exposure. But even then, it was more so we up here at camp, um, doing football stuff, not really thinking like, man, where would you like to go to college? And honestly, the first college I ever visited, my very first visit was Virginia. And on that visit, I never forget I'm up there, me, Uncle Tobias, and I forget whoever else was with us. And Coach Grow offered me right there on the sideline. And like a week later, I committed.
Mm.
I didn't I hadn't even took an official visit or none. I just obviously took the unofficial to the game, but I committed and in my mind, they want me to come there for free. It's Virginia, man. It's a done deal. I'm going. And funny enough, the game that you talked about, William Campbell, I committed that morning. I don't know if you remember. So I committed to Virginia that morning of
Nah, I didn't.
that
Yeah,
week. Yeah,
yeah. No, I remember that because
yeah,
Cedric,
yeah,
shout out to Cedric Pierman.
yeah.
He had committed as well that year, right?
He was already committed. Yeah, he was already committed.
So that was the headline. The top two players in the state going head to head. Wow, we went up against Cedric Pierman that year,
Yeah,
and
so, oh,
and running back played for the Giants up at Bluefield, West Virginia.
yeah. At Graham Ahmad Bradshaw.
Ahmad Bradshaw.
Yeah,
Bro, we played some we played some dogs that year.
yeah.
So you choose Virginia. I guess one thing I would ask from that is what would be your advice to especially the young male or female athlete that's from the town that may not have the person that could reach out to him and say, "Hey, how did you do it?" Like, what would be your advice to him?
And going back on it again, I didn't know nothing about the recruiting process. didn't know what to look for, didn't know the questions to ask or none of that. So it was more so I learned on the back end and kind of learned as I got there. But my advice would be make sure that it's the right fit for you. Because at the end of the day, as the old saying goes, what looks good ain't always, what it seems to be. You got to make sure it's a good fit for you, for whatever you got as a goal, for whatever you want to accomplish. You got to make sure that that school has the environment, has the coaches, has the resources you need to make sure that you can get there. So make sure you ask as many questions as possible, and make sure that you've got a feeling in your gut like this is because at the end of the day with this recruiting process, and any recruiting, you're not just going to college, just trying to get a job. You got to make sure that that information is real and factual so that you can make informed decisions about your future because it is an investment.
Nah, it absolutely is. Nah, we appreciate that, man. That's one qualification for our community is anytime like we're in positions for information, we have to give it. We feel like it's a part of who we are as we have now gaming community members. So anytime we have guests that come on that share information, I just want to say we appreciate it. We appreciate that. All right, so you're at UVA. I home state. I know that it's got to feel good to play for one of the home teams. Um, and talk to us about that experience, that transition, the going from a small town to now bigger city. Talk to us about that transition.
Um, it was interesting, and I say that because my first we had the summer bridge program where you go in the summer and take a summer course or summer semester, and I bombed that. I bombed that because not understanding the focus that I needed to put in the summer. I'm thinking I'm just here, I'm working out, um, enjoying being away from home, first experience with college. So it was interesting to start off, but I will say it was a slight culture shock for me, just being around different nationalities, different backgrounds. Yeah, obviously you're doing a lot of things on your own now, time management, you figure that out, you're getting help from the resources in the athletic department, in the academic department, excuse me. But it was an interesting transition. I learned a lot about myself more than anything, but it was one that was worth it. It was an experience that was worth it. And that transition, like I said, after that summer, um, I had to make a quick transition, or it was going to end it before, or it was going to be ended before it started, and it all worked out.
Yeah, it definitely did. So this is one part of the interview that I wanna fact check. So is it true that you played at UVA a total of 8 positions?
Yeah, I guess it was probably about eight. Yeah, I mean, pretty essentially every skill position on offense, um, every skill position on defense. I was a holder, punt returner. Then my second year was on different special teams. It was a core special teams guy. So yeah, I think every position that a skill guy could play, I played it by the end of my career at Virginia.
So did that coin the nickname Do It All Hall?
I think it did. I think it did. Because I'm
Like
not sure exactly when that was like you said when that was coined, but I think it was.
did like was it any one position that felt more natural or was it more favorited than others or you just enjoyed being on the football field?
I enjoyed being on the football field, and I can honestly say, coming from high school, playing 4 years of quarterback, that from the most natural standpoint felt the most. I felt the most confident in. Obviously, it was a different type of offense, so switching positions probably was the best thing for me. But over time, defensive back became the one that I enjoyed the most. And I say wide receiver is not an easy position to play. I tell people that all the time. You can be fast, that's one thing, but that's a skillful position in terms of the art of like the route running. So
Yeah.
I don't take that lightly, and I give a lot of props to the guys who can play that position at a high level because again, that's not an easy position. DB is not easy either. Again, that was where I spent most of my time, and so it was easier for me as opposed to really only being exposed to a receiver 1 year, really about half a season, honestly, and thinking you're just gonna go out there and do it at a high level.
So
And
and let's break that down because what you're saying is uh at the collegiate level you started to really develop and show promise at defensive back, and then at the NFL level you were asked to play wide receiver, correct?
correct, yeah, and it was kind of both. So I had opportunities at defensive back and at wide receiver. Essentially, was supposed to go to Baltimore as a defensive back. That's another story, but didn't happen. So now the opportunities that I have is at receiver. Obviously, that didn't work out. And like I said, I knew I wasn't a receiver. I was just obviously I was gonna go hard and give it everything I had, but I knew I wasn't a receiver. These, from a technician, fundamental standpoint. Um, so kind of was what it was. But yes, correct.
So was that transition to um 'cause you were at New York, Chicago for camps. Just that transition, like that's what I really want to focus on. Um, whether it was moving, whether it was changing cities, like was it new to you? Was it something that you felt? Were you comfortable? Were you like confident in your gameplay at the time when it comes to like having the support that you needed? Like what was the process at that time?
It was more. I was more anxious than anything, and the reason I'm saying that is because knowing that I'm a defensive back in terms of what I've just invested in as a collegiate player, and I know obviously play whatever you got to play. That's the name of the
Mm-hmm.
game. But competing against guys that has done it, trying to obviously we're competing for a position for a spot. Guys that have done it for the past 3 to 4 years in college. It was more anxiety, I guess, than anything. Wondering like, man, how I'm a fare. Am I gonna, be the best I can be as far as I knew route running was the one thing that I would say that was I wouldn't necessarily say a weakness. I wasn't the best at
Yeah.
just because I hadn't done it. And I'm just trying to run full speed and run it out. And as you know, you can't do that. It's an art to it. And so
Yeah.
little stuff like that I was more anxious than anything about, but excited too because at the end of the day, this is what we
It's an
dream for, right?
opportunity. Yeah.
Right.
Like
It's an
you're
opportunity.
literally right there on the
Right.
stage that you
Yeah.
had prayed for.
Yeah. So yes, it was some anxiety, but at the same time, I was excited too. I was gonna take whatever came with it, move how I needed to move. But no, it was yeah, it was some anxiety, but even more than that, man. I was just excited. And again, I was gonna take it on as it came.
Okay. So that was an important piece to football. Now, also at that time period, like, you're outside of football, you're moving, you're you know, out of college. So the real world is starting to be real now. It's starting to play a role, start to be a factor. Um, talk to us about that transition, because after the NFL, it was arena football. So talk to us about that transition.
Yeah, so even the transition from getting cut from the Jets, like that very next day, so I get cut from the Jets, fly out of Newark back into Lynchburg. I go to Gretna. I don't know what day it is, but go to Gretna that day. The very next day, I had two black duffel bags. That's what all my stuff was in. The next day, I went to DC. Shout out to Graham, my man Graham Wynn. We left Gretna
Shout out to
and met
Grant.
met my wife now, Shani in Charlottesville, and the rest was history. But in that transition, I didn't know what was next.
Mm.
And that's one thing kind of going back to what you asked about making a decision for college. Make sure you understand if it's a sport that that's gonna come to an end. The ball gonna start spinning for everybody. All right, whether you coaching, whether you playing. So make sure you know what other things you're interested in and make sure you make an investment into preparing yourself for when that time comes. Because during this period, man, I don't know what I want to do.
Mm.
I didn't necessarily want to play arena football, honestly. Where I wanted to go didn't work out, so I'm done with football. That was my mindset at the time. So even when I moved to DC, And this would have been August of 2010.
Mhm.
Probably about a month after that. It was around September, late September, early October. I ended up getting a job at Woodrow Wilson High School in D.C. And shout out to Jamie Younger. He actually the guy at the time that was the principal at the school was a University of Virginia grad. He knew him from back when he was going to school in North Carolina, connecting me with him. Went up, so I started working there, and I did that for 6 months. And our kicker in college beat Gold. His brother was Robbie Gold. I know he obviously kicked for the Niners. He was kicking for the Bears at the time.
Shout out
Beat
to
was
Robbie.
playing, yeah. Beat was playing with the Chicago Rush Arena team. And he just kind of was recruiting me. And I'm like, man, I don't have any interest in playing arena football. He just kind of stayed on, like, man, just come try it out. You'll like it. So go out to Chicago, get an opportunity to go out to Chicago. So I'm there. Um, and and I think I told you this story before. And we talking, we having a conversation, man. I went out to Chicago. I had like, to be honest with you, like $22 to my name, man. Go out there. It's training camp. And obviously they give you 3 square meals a day. I'm like the eighth DB on the depth chart. I'm like, man, it's guys from the SEC, you know, all of that stuff going through. But I just go out and just start playing, just working. And then it all worked out in the end, end up making the team and then spent 3 seasons in Chicago. Um, finishing up in Chicago,
Hold
that's
on, hold
when
on, hold on, hold on.
yeah,
Let's not. See, this is why I love him. Chat is because he's so humble that he'll breeze by something that's so monumental and so important. It's like, bro, you gotta be like that's a different level of humbleness to me. Like from what I've seen and what this world has shown us. So chat, his first year, rookie year at defensive back for Chicago Rush, correct?
correct.
Correct. He broke the interception record that was at 14 and he won defensive player of the year. I'm gonna just drop the horn, but like this is why for me he's the GOAT because of what he was able to do in high school, being successful at whatever position they put you in at the collegiate level, right? I mean, it's a lot of things that goes into a player finding that perfect fit and being able to blossom and reach their full potential. But for whatever reason, whatever position they put you at the collegiate level, you found success. NFL doesn't work out. A small percentage of people play the NFL. So you go to arena and as a rookie playing defensive back, probably at a fraction of the snaps as other defensive backs in that draft, in the arena, whatever, win defensive player of the year and you break the interception record. Come on, chat. That's what I'm talking about. And he probably hearing it for the first time, like as I'm talking to him. but again, man, it's Black History Month, and we want to make sure that you receive those flowers. So no, I don't want to breeze past that, man. Let's talk about that. You broke the record as a rookie. How did that feel?
Man, it was special. Like I said, I at the time I didn't even again, like in all honesty, I wasn't counting how many interceptions I had. Um, the game that it actually happened in didn't know until after the game, and you know, that's when I got turf toe, and that was the kind of the last game I was gonna play for the next 5 weeks. But nevertheless, man, it was obviously special to be able to accomplish that. Not only it was an individual accomplishment, but at the same time, that contributed to the team success. So it was even more excited because we put ourselves in a position at that particular time to, you know, kind of go play for a championship. So it was special. Just in any accomplishment we have in life, it's special. And kind of going back to what you said about, you know, whatever position in college or whatever situation that by the grace of God, I found myself in. I truly believe in, as you hear people say, make the best of what you got, or make the best out of what you got. And if I could share any knowledge, any words of wisdom to anybody, I would say, man, make sure that you make the best of what you got that's in front of you. So do what you can where you can, and do the best of your ability. Because at the end of the day, opportunity don't care who make it. So I truly believe in doing the work before you need it. So when that opportunity do come, you prepared. And I didn't necessarily think like that back then. Or at least that wasn't my mindset, like those words. But in looking back on it, that was kind of my mentality.
Man, I love to hear it, man. You dropping knowledge, you dropping jewelry all over the ground. We definitely appreciate this conversation because this is what goes into the community that we're building is really being able to pour into each other and ultimately being able to pour into our youth. So we definitely appreciate you. So when you look back at the Vic Hall story, which is continue to get more and more interesting, um, you've seen when as I look at success now, I look at it differently and the steps that you've taken every year, whether it's been through promotion, me personally seeing you grow as a man, as a father, as a husband, like taking those different steps, like where are you right now in the Vic Hall story?
Um, just trying to get better, man. I truly believe in when we have goals, right, that we want to accomplish. It's not a destination, if that makes sense. So I have goals and what I want to do in my career. I've had goals and accomplished them, excuse me. And so you move to the next one. And I truly believe in that it's a process, right? It's a journey that it's never stops. So you just don't arrive at your goal and that's it. You got to continue to work. So I truly believe that it's not a destination, it's a process. And what I had to realize is in that process, it's a lot of sacrifice,
Mm,
right? Some big, some small, but nevertheless, it's a lot of sacrifice. And you're not going to be comfortable. If you want to be comfortable, then don't have goals or reevaluate your goals. Because at the end of the day, once you stop, there's somebody else who want the same thing you want that's going to keep going. That's going to outwork you. And I keep that in mind every day. One of the it's on my Twitter profile, my Instagram, a quote that from the 33 Strategies of War, and it's if you can't afford to lose, you won't. So
mm.
like, it's on my phone. I see it every day when I wake up. Um, if you can't afford to lose, you won't, and that's the mentality. So what that means is you got to figure it out. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to be uncomfortable. But if you really want it and you can't afford to lose, then you won't. Sometimes when you think about, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but just in life, some of us are too comfortable and we can afford to lose, right? Like we got too many choices. Like some of us don't have that many choices, right? This is what I set as my goal. And if I don't accomplish it, then what? So that's kind of my mentality and where I am now. Just keep pushing forward, keep moving the bar in terms of my goals. And like I said, I understand the sacrifices that come with it.
Oh man, chat that deserves a horn. And we do have some questions for you before you leave us. While we have you, we have some questions that were sent beforehand. So let's get right into it. So the chat wanted to know first, what was your top five video games? What was your top five favorite video games?
Top five favorite video games. It's crazy. I wouldn't necessarily say I was a big gamer,
Mm-hmm.
but I look back on it. Super Tecmo Bowl was one of my favorite because it was nostalgic for me. Um, so Super Tecmo Bowl. I remember Deshaun used to live beside my aunt Pinky down in the projects, and I used to try my best. And I'm young, man. I used to try my best to get over there, however got over there to play. But that was just something that was nostalgic for me. So Super Tecmo Bowl definitely was one. I don't know if you remember the old Joe Montana on the Sega.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was my Uncle Boz had a Sega. And anytime I sneak down to the basement and play. So I would say Tecmo Bowl, Joe Montana. Uh, I forget the name of the baseball game we used to play over Brandon Jones' crib all the time on the 64.
Oh, you talking about
I forget the name of it.
MLB 2K?
Yeah, that's up there. That's the one that's
Yeah, shout
MLB.
out to the whole 2K series because
Yeah,
for some of the new gamers, they don't know NFL 2K and MLB 2K was a thing
yeah.
before it was just NBA. All right, so that's four. So you got one more.
That's three.
That's
Tecmo Bowl,
three. That's three.
Madden.
Okay.
Yeah, Tecmo Bowl, Madden. I said Madden, Montana. Um, what was the third one I said?
MLB 2K.
MLB 2K.
Uh-huh.
Uh, really wasn't into the fighting games, so um, dang. I say honestly, Grand Theft Auto, just because
Okay. Okay.
Chris, we used to go over Tris crib all the time, Tris and Tion, and it was like all day event. Everybody we playing Grand Theft Auto. That was again nostalgic,
we
man.
used to, we used to role play before they start role
Yeah,
playing.
so it was more even before. It was more about the game, just more about the moments around the game.
Yeah.
Probably why I'm favorite. So Grand Theft Auto and five. Um, uh, what was the old football game on? Was it the Sega Sat? No, what was the I forget the name of the game.
NFL 2K?
I think it might have been NFL 2K,
The Dreamcast.
Dreamcast. My
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
that's it.
That
That's
was
the
that
fifth.
was that was that was NFL 2K.
Yeah, that was the fifth one. So that's my five. And again, like I said, a lot of those games is more so about the moments that was around them because you got to think MLB 2K, man. We used to be there like playing tournaments up all night. Um,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Same thing with NFL 2K.
Yep.
Same thing, playing tournaments to kill. Co- Use the corner phrase, man. I just want to play.
I just want to play. You know, Chad, when your homie that's
Shout out to Slick,
he's
man.
not the best, but really he just want to vibe. He just want to
Yeah,
pull up, chill with the homies. Like he used to say, man, I just want to play. Couldn't beat nobody. Like was literally at the bottom of the totem pole. But shout out to all those moments that we share over gaming because that's like honestly, it was a huge part of our upbringing, huge part of our friendship, and a huge part of what we're building here at We Up Now Gaming. And shout out to you, chat, for everybody that's pulling up tonight and supporting the page. Make sure that you're subscribed to the page for all of our core followers. I need you to put some coins in the chat. You have to be a subscriber to make sure that you put coins in the chat and make sure that you locked in for 6 months so that way you can get that blue badge. But we're talking to Vic Hall, Mr. Virginia, legend himself, 14,000 yards in high school. I think 13,400 to be exact, but who's counting? Had success at 8 different positions at the collegiate level. He won Defensive Player of the Year for the Chicago Rush, and he's now cornerbacks coach and recruiting coordinator. I want to make sure I get all the titles out there, Vic. I want to make sure I get them all out there at Ball State. So we're going through some Q&A, and then we got some giveaways tonight. Sorry. So next question. So I understand that you are a producer, like real good with beats. You know, I might have rapped on a few. Shout out to Heavy Hitters. Shout out to Ride Squad. Shout out to Chris Cook. Shout out to all those goats. But we'll get into that in another conversation. But I want to know your top 5 artists. Who are your top 5 artists?
top five artists. Ah man, and honestly, I don't do well with favorites, but again, these are moments in my life where like I probably could listen to any of these artists by any of these songs by any of these artists. So it'll be 50,
Okay.
Banks, Jadakiss, Fabulous, and Hove.
Oh, so you really hold on. You just With the game, we had to get there. With the top five artists, it was like you done thought about this list. So we said 50,
Yeah,
50 Cent,
50,
Lloyd Banks,
Lloyd Banks,
Jadakiss,
Jadakiss, Fabulous,
Fabulous,
yeah, and
and
Hove.
Jay Z. Wow.
And then saying that five again, I know I love to listen to Biggie like Nas, but like I said, with those five, and believe it or not, honestly, leading up to before I started kind of messing around with music, I can't say that I was big into music like that, to be honest with you. To like know specific songs, whenever they may have came out, and this was probably late '90s, early 2000s. Like, just never really was into it that way. I'm probably more of an R&B fan than anything, but the like those five artists in their prime, and obviously Hope Jay Z's prime is kind of is a little different beast. But and even Jadakiss and Fab, 50 don't really make music no more, and Banks just come out with some stuff. But in their heyday, in their prime, it probably wasn't a song that I couldn't listen to by them. You know what I'm saying? If they
Right,
drop
right.
some, I'm in. I'm down. Like, yeah. So yeah,
Uh,
that would be my five.
shout out to anybody that was really locked in at the crossroads. Cause you pull up on Vic, he listening to his R&B playlist and he got the music bumping loud. You can hear it outside of his dorm room.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you really locked in with your top five artists. All right. So the next question is, what has been your biggest inspiration?
Biggest inspiration. The biggest inspiration, obviously, in my life is becoming a father, having my daughter, Cambry. So that's an inspiration. But the biggest inspiration is my family.
Mm,
At the end of the day, waking up every day, and like I told you on my phone, and it's just just a visual for me. The I know it's two different screens, whatever the first screen, but before the phone is unlocked, whatever you call that screen, my family is on that screen, and then when I unlock it, the if you can't afford to lose, you won't. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I made a sacrifice. They made a sacrifice for me to be able to be doing what I'm doing, and so for that, that's an inspiration. That obviously the support, the love is there at a level that would allow me to make that sacrifice. And like I said, it wasn't just a sacrifice on my end, a sacrifice on their end as well. So my family, as far as my wife and my kids, but also my family and just Gretna, man. And I'll be honest, we having a conversation in all transparency. I don't get back home as much as I should, and I got to be better. And like I said, I know me, I can become obsessed with what I'm trying to do or what I want to do. And with that being said, some things will get left off the table, but not making excuses. I'm just being honest. But I got to get back home more. But my family and Gretna in general is an inspiration, just the support, the love, obviously the foundation that I got growing up there. So, yeah. In saying that, man, and I know the prayers that I've gotten, the prayers that I continue to get, is why I'm where I'm at now. So, yeah, I would say my family, man. And like I said, Gretna, that's the biggest inspiration for me.
Hey, chat. One day we're gonna have a real serious conversation about the the responsibility that our generation, which I believe will see the most millionaires in our family trees, the responsibilities and the work that goes into really taking our family trees to the next level, and not just the next level, but we got to really take a few strides if we really trying to catch up. So we're gonna have that conversation. So we appreciate you answering that and the transparency. All right, next question. What made you get into coaching? So again, not breezing past any accolades. So you're currently the cornerbacks coach and the
Yep.
recruiting co-recruiting
Co-recruit.
coordinator at Ball State.
Right.
Congratulations on that, because you've achieved that in a very short period of time. So what got you into coaching initially?
Yeah, that's a good question because I never saw myself as a coach. I can't sit here and tell you that at some point while I was playing or even shortly after I was playing that I had interest in being a coach. Right? I always wanted to play and I couldn't see past playing. And so kind of fast forward to 2004, no, 2017. So I just left working in the staffing at Integrity, and now I'm back at in the school at Hart Middle School in Washington D.C. Ward 8. So shout out to Hart. I'll always be a Jet. Um, but I was working teaching um, special ed class of kids, and it had 12 students. I had 10 boys, 10 girls that were, you know, and it was a self-contained classroom. So I'm with these kids all day, every day, um, working through some things, some challenges each and every day. But I will say that the trust that I eventually earned and the inspiration that and it was some small things, but I could see it, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I this is something that's for me. Maybe this is a calling for me. Obviously, God talks to us in different ways. Like maybe He's saying something. At that particular time, I was also help helping coach a team around the corner at National Collegiate Prep High School, and so I'm doing that. And again, I'm not really thinking like this is what I want to do at the next level, and then or at a high level, and then having that impact on the young men, young women that look like me. It did something to me, and I said, man, I want to do this on a higher level, and that's kind of how it happened. But I can't tell you that I always wanted to be. I think it was just it was for me. You know what they say: if it's for you, it's for you.
Nah, that's important, man. Especially those moments where you really can't explain it, but you know it's what you should be doing. You
Hmm.
know, being that aware and being obedient is the word I like to use. Is very important. So thanks for sharing that. All right. So next question: Who has given you, uh, who has been your biggest mentor in your journey as being a coach?
Biggest mentor? Good question. I'll be honest. I have a few. Obviously, one being Robert Prunty. Obviously, coached a long time at Gretna High School. Um, he's been a mentor for me. Actually hired me back in 2021. Obviously, kind of around when COVID started. So hired me at Hampton University. He's been a mentor to me in this game in this career field. Ron Prince recruited me at Virginia, coached me 2 stops at Virginia, gave me my first full time job at Howard. So he's a mentor that I continuously get knowledge from. Um, Anthony Poindexter was a part of the recruitment as well. Coached me at Virginia also. Al Groh, who obviously was the head coach at Virginia, get a lot. I still get a lot of knowledge from him. So I would say those four are my mentors in this career field in this game.
Love to hear, man. You talked about some legends right there. So being able to have that type of access, you know, that's special.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Next question. So you got a lot of nicknames, and I probably know more than the chat knows. So we have Vic, do it all Hall, Vic Hall of Fame. That's just a few. What's your favorite nickname?
Um, like I said, favorites. I don't do well with favorites, but I'll say if I had to pick one, do it all. And I say that because it was something that happened, and because I had to do it. And I think a lot of times we have our mind set on doing one thing, and this is what I want to do. I don't want to do nothing else. Not understanding there may be more opportunities to do something different. And because I did so many different things, did it hurt me in some ways? Yeah, but at the end of the day, it helped me build a mentality of, you know what, regardless of what it is, I'm gonna be the best at it, or try to work to be the best at it. I'll say that. So if it's shoveling, you know what, I'm gonna be the best. You know what shoveling I can be. Like that's just my mentality. So whatever it may be, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do what I gotta do until I can do what I can or what I want to do.
I love it, man. I love the answer. Next question we have is what advice for players looking to get it? What advice do you have for players that's looking to get into coaching?
The first thing I would say, man, is make sure that it's what you want to do. It's an investment. It's a time investment. And if it's an emotional investment, it could become a financial investment depending on kind of your situation. You're gonna have to make a lot of sacrifices. And I'm saying all of that not to say scare anyone away from coaching, but it's to me it's a special position because you got a responsibility to impact young men. So make sure first and foremost it's something that you really want to do, and two, uh, understand why you're doing it and never forget that. Right? Understand why you're doing it and never forget that because at the end of the day, in anything that we do, we could get lost and we could lose sight of who we are, morals, principles. So make sure understand why you want to do it and never forget that. Right? Opportunities gonna come. Right? Money that'll come, but don't forget why you do it because that's the most important thing. So that would be the two things, man. Make sure it's what you want to do, right? And two, never forget why you're doing it.
I love it. So I'm a close with two personal questions that I have for you. One, what's your favorite quote? I know you for dropping a lot of gems, right? So what is your favorite quote? And I know you struggle with favorites, but we
Yeah.
definitely gotta leave one for us.
So I guess I'll and you asked for one, but I'll give you two only because you already heard one, which is probably my favorite. And that's is if you can't afford to lose, you won't. All right. Now the second one, again, is from it's Sun Tzu quote. Everybody knows the Sun Tzu quote, the battle was won before it is fought. Right? That's not
Ooh,
the quote I'm gonna use or that I would say is one of my other favorites. But the other one is victorious warriors win first, then go to war. Right? Defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. And in both of those quotes, the emphasis is put on preparation.
mm,
Like I said before, do the work before you need it. So again, you make it the way you want to go and then you get comfortable. Well, obviously you want to continue to work to make sure you can remain where you are, but also like the old saying go dress for the job you want, not the what job you have. Well, you got to work for the job you want, not the job you have. Not to overlook what you're doing at that particular time. But again, man, anything we do is an investment. You're gonna either spend the time or invest it. So the emphasis is on preparation. So that would be my, I guess, second favorite quote.
jeez, dropping it, man. Dropping jury all over the place. I love it. So I'm gonna definitely go back check out all of those quotes. The next question that I have is what book you read?
Uh, right now, book Relentless, and it's the author's Tim Grover. He trained Michael Jordan, trained Dwayne Wade, trained Kobe Bryant, and the book is Relentless from good to great to unstoppable.
Relentless. All right, chat. So I hope, especially for my young homies, I hope y'all had y'all pen and y'all paper out. Cause anytime we pull up to these type of conversations, we want to make sure that we taking notes. But if you didn't, this stream will be on YouTube. I want to make sure everybody is tapped into all of our platforms. We're on Twitch, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, and yes, we are streaming on Facebook now. So make sure that you tapped in every Tuesday and Thursday. The content creators they pull up at 8 p.m. Eastern, and every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for all of the early birds, you can pull up on me, your boy Fox, every 6:30. I'm sorry, from 6:30 to 8:30. Um, Vic, we appreciate you pulling up to the platform today, sharing your story, going behind the scenes. This was the first time you really shared this much information, man. We really do appreciate it.
Nah, I appreciate you having me, bro. Like I said, it's been a long time coming. Um, and I know how you like to end this thing. And before you do that, I'll say, in case y'all forgot, man, remember success is not a destination, man. It's an ongoing process.
We up now, next up. Came up out that bottom, earned my stripes, became a stepper. Had to raise the bar, now the bar exceeds your effort. I ain't come up with a silver